Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm just adjusting my mic so it's actually by my mouth. I probably should have done that like 3 months ago.
Oh, yeah. I'm untangling my earbuds. I'm like the Oilers, trying to break out of their own zone.
And I'm like an Oilers
defenseman 4 or 5 times, huh?
Yeah, I'm like an Oilers forward. Maybe I should have started back checking 3 months ago. All right. Lost 8 out of 11, Bruce. And Oil Country is in a mood. Let's just put it that way. 3-2 loss to the Devils of New Jersey, Bruce. The grade A shots in the next game are interesting. They are interesting. Edmonton had 16 grade A shots to New Jersey's 13. But in the stat that I find really tells the tale of the tape, 5 alarm shots, the most dangerous of shots. New Jersey had 8, and the Oilers had 2. 2. Bruce, this is our 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers podcast. What is your good thing, Amundo?
Yeah, I'm going to go with play of Evan Bouchard in this game. I thought he had a pretty strong game on the back end for the Oilers. Was push and play. Of course, he scored the goal that gave them the very temporary 2-1 lead in the third period on a good outside Californian through traffic. But in general, I liked his involvement and heads up play. I thought he was okay in his own end. Made a big shot block with the net empty near the end, and had a few real decent looks. 5 shots on net, 11 shot attempts, both leading the team by a wide margin. And that goal and a +1 showing on the night.
Yeah. He kept a clean sheet at even strength, Bruce. Not one major mistake on a grade A shot against. So that's more like it for Evan Bouchard. That's what we need to see. I thought his partner was pretty good too. Jake Wallman. I thought they looked good. Unlike at least one other Oilers pairing out there, man. Yeah, that was a good Californian. I thought the Oilers were going to win up 2-1, eh?
And they were dominating early in the third, and then
they were, and they're up in nice screens by both Bouchard and Draisaitl. I actually thought Draisaitl kicked that just ever so slightly as it was going in, but the goal is awarded to Bouchard, so that's good. That's a good thing. He's got 13 now on the season. You know, according to our work, Bruce, he's the most effective Oilers defenseman at even strength in terms of you rate their contributions to the grade A shots for versus mistakes on grade A shots against. He does make a high rate of grade A shots, mistakes on grade A shots against. There's like a lot of Oilers defensemen, his numbers are inflated from last year because of weak play. But on the attack, he's just been superb this year. He is an outstanding offensive defenseman.
I saw
quite up there with Cale Makar.
Saw a tweet today
where did you see that?
He was in the same list as Cale Makar, Quinn Hughes, Eric Carlson, and who's the fourth guy? And Bouchard is the only guys in the league that were ahead of Montreal phenom Lane Hudson for controlled zone entries and controlled zone exits, meaning not just getting the puck out or in, but getting it in with your team having possession. And he was listed with 5. It was a short list of 5 guys that were ahead of Hudson, and all of them were superb offensive defensemen. And you know, getting the puck out and getting the puck in is not the same as scoring points, but man, is it ever important.
Sure is. Did you see that clip of Cale Makar today? The other team got a 2-on-1 break. And
Mhm.
I've never seen this before, Bruce. He first went to block one guy, sprawling to block one guy. Then somehow he kind of popped over and then blocked the other guy, skating
Yeah,
backwards. And then he stole the puck and raced up ice and set up McKinnon for a goal. It was the most impressive sequence of skating, both forward and backward from the defenseman I've seen. To me, Kel McCarr, I know he doesn't. It's like McDavid. I know McDavid doesn't win the MVP award every year, and this year actually is the first year where I would say he doesn't deserve it. I'd say Draisaitl does. Maybe maybe McKinnon, one of those years too. But
yeah.
McCarr to me is the best defenseman every year he's in the league now. He's just the best defenseman. If he is such an incredible hockey player, but anyway,
Right.
that's not how those awards work.
I found it. It's from Big Head Hockey, who provides these random tidbits of hockey stats. And he says every defenseman this season with more 5v5 controlled zone exits and controlled zone entries than Lane Hudson. Quinn Hughes, Cale McCarr, Eric Carlson, Zach Werenski, Evan Bouchard. That's the list. That's some pretty
Yeah.
elite list to be on, you know.
Well,
So
we're keeping track, Bruce, and that's what we see, right?
yeah,
That's what we
yeah,
see.
we don't keep
So,
track of that specific thing, but
well,
it does not
we
surprise
keep,
me at all.
yeah, we keep track of something similar,
Right.
which a lot of those plays are lead to grade A shots, and he's by far the best Oilers defenseman in creating grade A shots.
Yes.
Bruce, my good thing, you mentioned one thing, which is obviously a good thing, the way they started the third period. And yeah, Wallman, grade A shot. Henrique, 2 grade A shots. Kapanen, grade A shot. Bouchard, goal. Huge grade A shot. They're cruising, and then it all falls in on them. But really, so that was great, but it didn't keep up long enough to be the good thing. I think this game, I'm going to give it to Stu Skinner. You get 8 5-alarm shots. Just on that alone, Bruce, you're expected to let in 2 or 3 goals. And then there was 5 more grade A shots on top of that. The shots that he was beat on, I don't. One was a tough shot from outside that goes right, pops right to Brett Pesce at the side of the net. It's just a puck luck thing. It's a tough play. And then there's 2 Californians. After the Oilers scored a Californian, the New Jersey crowds the net and gets 2 in a row. And the first one, I don't think Bouchard had it was just the most seeing eye puck of the year. Maybe Jesper Bratt probably put it through 4 players or 5 players, like 2 Oilers and 2 Devils, and it just somehow found its way in the net. It was an absolutely just lucky goal by Bratt, but he did the right thing. He put it at the net, and the Devils did the right thing by screening. And the Oilers participated by not clearing guys out in front of the net. They were just kind of standing there with them, which was a little bit frustrating. In that case, it was Kulak, the main culprit, screening the goalie. The next goal was also screened by Kulak, who wasn't taking out the guy in front of the net again, laying on the lumber or doing whatever you're supposed to do. Just get body position on the guy. If you don't want to be a big Bobby Clobber, just get good body position and keep him from blocking the goalies. Skinner might have done a bit better on that. He had to get high to look over the 2 players, Kulak and the other guy. Kulak's not a small man. And when he finally went down into his butterfly, he might have been a little slow getting down and covering off that corner where the puck went in. So that one is the only one of the 3 goals where I thought maybe, he's somewhat at fault. Other than that, he just kept making big save after big save after big save this game. He really kept his team in the game. And it would have been great for the Oilers to find a way to win this one for the goalie. He could use a pick-me-up from something. And I think he did his part to get that, but his team let him down. And
Well, he stopped everything he could see. I'll say that. Now,
Yeah.
the team did block a number of shots in front of him, but they also blocked his view quite a few times. And certainly that Nemitz goal that won it for New Jersey. Uh, there was nobody in a lane out at the point. Like, it was right in the middle of the blue line. And Podkolzin had gotten sucked out to one side, and then there was just nobody in the lane where the shot came from, but there was all kinds of traffic right in his eyes in front. And that was one. The end zone view, uh, when like, there was a space this wide, puck width, between his right skate, and the right post. Left post, as a shooter would see it. And I thought to myself, as I saw that end zone view, that's that narrow butterfly that you mentioned in your post today about
Yeah,
the shape of the goalie blocking the net. That if you're a wider,
yeah.
more splayed out butterfly, or you block more net, obviously. And in this specific case, a different form of butterfly probably makes that save without seeing it, but just by blocking that extra little piece of net. And game-winning goal, game-losing goal against occurs, and that's how it's been going.
That was Kevin Woodley, the great, excellent goalie expert. He was talking about
Very
this. Like, he
good.
was talking about why Skinner so
Hmm.
sometimes ends up on his face forward, and he did this game too. You can see a lot of games he was kind of lurching forward to making saves, and he made a lot of great saves. Actually, Bruce, while kind of moving forward, and Woodley's point is this: some goalies have incredible kind of flexibility and strength in their legs.
Right.
Tend to be Russian goalies, if I'm completely
Hmm.
honest. And they just get when they're in the butterfly, their pads are flat on the ice, sealed to the ice, and wide,
Post to post.
and post to post. And players that come to mind are Sorokin from the Islanders, and Vasilevsky and Shesterkin. They're just down in that butterfly, and
Hmm.
so Skinner's legs are more behind him. It's more of a
Yeah.
V that he's in the butterfly, a V with his knees closer together, his feet kind of behind him. So when he moves side to side, it's a bit more awkward. Doesn't cover as much of the net. There's a few more holes. And Woodley intimate said that he thought Skinner's been working hard to get more flexible, but he's not there yet. And I agree. Um, if he had been able, maybe that's it. Maybe he was quick enough, but that butterfly's just not good enough. He's just not strong and flexible enough to get down low and cover off that kind of shot. So if people want to say another goalie, a better goalie would have had that last one, I think that's a fair comment. But other than that, Stu Skinner was great in this game and certainly played well enough for the Oilers to win. Bruce, what's your bad thing?
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I'm going to go with defenseman Ty Emberson, who I thought had a really rugged time out there in this game. He ended the night -3, which in a 3-2
Ouch.
loss is a little bit of painful thing. Uh, we had him as involved on the actual scoring play in only one of those, when he was the last Oiler who had the puck, I think, on the 2-2, and he fired a prayer pass around the end boards that wound up going to New Jersey, and they cycled from there. Uh, but he was getting beat constantly, and he was losing strength battles. He lost one close to his own net where the guy just pushed him down and went right in, and they had a 3-on-2. So that might have been Skinner's best save of the entire game, uh, bailing out Emberson on that play. Then there was one in the third period where he had to play at the offensive blue line, couldn't keep the puck in, and again he got pushed down, and they just took the puck up ice, and that one turned into 3 dangerous chances, with Skinner making 2 great stops and Stetcher making the third. Uh, I'm just not seeing, there's no offense to this player, right? So I mean, he's got 1 point in the last 16 games. So it's not like
Yeah.
he's Evan Bouchard and making up for defensive issues by getting points and contributing at the good end. His job is out there to be strong defensively, and they try and match him up to some extent, but right now it's not working, and I've not been seeing him good now for last couple, probably since end of the turn, that since the start up of play again, that's been, he certainly hasn't had, last time he had a plus game was the first game back. And then since then, he's been now -7 in the last 7 games with no points. And when you're losing your part of the game by a goal on a nightly basis, this is not good. And especially when you're playing 14 minutes,
Hockey's this weird game, this weak link, strong link game.
Yeah.
Because the cast of characters is always changing on the ice. And the very best players tend to win you games. The very worst players tend to lose you the games. And Emberson, on the Oilers at least, is a third pairing defenseman. So he's at the lower end of the scale. But for a while there, when the Oilers were winning, man, everyone was saying, sign this guy to a contract, and he's playing well, and he's starting to make offensive plays. He's starting to skate with the puck, starting to make passes. And has he ever fallen off? He really has, Bruce. He's losing physical battles, which is most worrisome. And it's like, I hope, we don't know. John Klingberg's always a lower body injury, apparently. And we can hope it's not the hips again, but it could well be. Maybe Klingberg is not going to come back, but man, that signing may turn out to be important because Klingberg can, if Emberson doesn't pick it up, and Klingberg can step in there and maybe play with Kulak on a bottom pairing and get the job done. And that might be the order of the day, because Emberson right now is not looking like an NHL defenseman. In the last month, he's looking like an AHL defenseman.
Yeah, he looked like one tonight.
Starting to get eaten alive. And this plays into my thing, which is we know my bad thing is the Oilers have been the worst rush team in February. Chris Knobloch told us, well, tonight was terrible. They gave up 6 grade A shots on the rush, 5 at even strength and 1 when they were shorthanded, which is unusual.
Mm-hmm.
But 6, they only had 13 grade A shots, and half of them were off the rush. And this is the team that knows they've got to stop rush chances. This isn't news to them. Everybody's been talking about it. It's not news in the NHL. Everybody in the NHL knows, like, the Oilers suck against the rush. And what happens, Bruce? Like, second shift of the game, Leon Draisaitl's at the offensive blue line, and he turns over the puck. Wallman is moving up, and he's out of position, and there's a 2-on-1, and it's just an absolutely there's a 5-alarm shot for the bad guys. A turnover at the offensive blue line and a defenseman out of position there, and 2 veteran hockey players doing that. And then it's just
in the first minute.
Yeah, with Draisaitl and
right away,
and Wallman. And then Bruce, it goes from there. Like, the next one is that, like, Emberson is involved in 3 of them.
Yeah.
Where this one, the first one, he just makes a bad read. He's up too high and doesn't recover in time, and they're off to the races.
Yeah.
The next one is Draisaitl. He's been out for 2 minutes on the power play, and the penalty's over, and they rush up the Devils rush up the ice, and it turns into a 3-on-2 because Leon is tired and late and not strong enough on the back check, and his man gets off a dangerous shot on net.
Yep.
The next one comes on the penalty when the Oilers are shorthanded, and it's not because of a man advantage. It's a 3-on-3 on the rush, but Emberson just gets wiped out on the battle. He gets beaten by his man, and now it's a 3-on-2 down low, and there's just an absolutely deadly shot on the power play that Skinner somehow manages to make a save on. Let me see if I can remember the other ones. The one you talked about at the end there, where Emberson lost the board battle, that was with 2.5 minutes left. At least he had the excuses. We're down 1.
Right.
We got to get a goal. So the defenseman should be pinching, right? Like, his job in that moment is to pinch and try to get a goal. He lost the battle. It was a hard battle. It looked like he might win the battle, but they got 3 grade A shots. 3 grade A shots out of that. So each time on these, I think I've forgotten one of the particulars of one of them, Bruce, but each time Stuart Skinner was outstanding on the rush chance. He made some spectacular saves. Oh, the other one was Kapanen. Jeez, oh, this is the worst one. The Oilers are rushing in. Bouchard goes to the net. He almost
Oh,
scores.
right.
Kapanen fills in for him. Kapanen fills in for him.
In
At first,
theory.
the puck's in the slot, and Perry does a flyby in the slot of the guy with the puck.
Yeah.
Then Kapanen, who's covering for Bouchard, as Strudwick says, never trust a forward.
Trust the forward.
He makes this terrible decision. Like on a 30% chance to get the puck, he rushes the player with the puck, and it goes by him, and it's a 2-on-1. And the save that ensues on this is just Stuart Skinner's best save of the night. But Kapanen, like, what is with this team that they can't figure this out and stop making these lazy back checks, bad pinches, bad passes at the blue line? It's killing them, Bruce, and it's going to kill their Stanley Cup hopes. I mean, everybody's down right now, but this team still can win the Stanley Cup. They're going to get 4 players, possibly as many as 4 players who weren't in the lineup will be in the lineup in their Stanley Cup playoffs. Evander Kane, Trent Frederick, Matthias Ekholm, and John Klingberg. Those are 4 pretty good players if they're all healthy and good to go, which is debatable whether that's going to happen for all of them. But and they have some really good attacking players, obviously, 2 best attackers in the league, arguably. And they've got veteran players who should know how to win. But I guess they forgot.
Playoffs? Don't talk to me about playoffs. I just hope we can win a game. You got to win some games. I mean,
they might not.
Got to start winning some friggin' games. They got to start winning some games.
Calgary's catching up on them.
Yeah. Yeah, they got a point at least last night. Edmonton's got nothing to show for 2 first half of their 4-game road trip. The best they can do now is come home with 4 points, and even if they get that, you're losing ground. A point a game doesn't keep up with the league because of the bogus cockamamie point system where every so often there's extra points being tossed around. So 4 in 4 games is below average. And that's dangerously assuming 2 wins. Like, that's the best case scenario.
I guess the Oilers' strategy, Bruce, is to slide into the last wild card spot, and they get moved over to the Central Division.
Yeah, it'd be
they can avoid.
Right?
I know it's just
avoid Calgary.
Being facetious. Yeah, they want to avoid Vegas, LA, and Calgary. Yeah. So. Oh man, I don't know. This team is just it's a mess right now. And so, but these decisions that they make in the split second, like. They can change those things. They can just be a bit more cautious. The danger zone areas of the ice, a bit more sure. And, they're not doing it. All right, Bruce, what's your number?
Well, I got 2 numbers, 2 and 3. And, of course, that was the score of tonight's game. 2 for the Oilers, 3 for the bad guys, just like last game. And the actual shots on net, 33-22, was a 3-2 ratio for the Oilers. So they carried the bulk of the play, but again, some of the chances that they gave up, the 5 alarmers that we counted were one-sided. But the whole way Edmonton's supposed to work, and especially on nights like this, where Chris Knobloch, in my view, correctly put the axis of power together on one line with McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman, and they delivered the goods. They scored, or they were on the ice for both goals. McDavid had 2 assists, and Draisaitl, of course, scored one of the goals. That trio for the Oilers was +2. Hyman, Draisaitl, McDavid. The Oilers won their part of the game 2-0. The whole theory is those guys win their part of the game. The rest of the team is supposed to saw off. Well, guess what didn't happen in this game? We have, just looking at forwards, Henrique -1, Brown -2, Kapanen -1, Jones -1, Perry -1, Podkolzin -2, Nugent Hopkins -1. And, even that fourth line, I mean, Max Jones played 4 minutes and 45 seconds tonight. He was -1 with a penalty. And I suspect that his leash might become short fairly fast. And that was on the coach, because he had his fourth line and third pairing, Emberson and Stetcher, and that line with Kapanen, Jones, and Perry out there against Jesper Bratt, Timo Meyer. Guess what happened? Puck went to Edmonton's end, stayed there until it went in the net and the goal horn went off. Well, nice matchup there, coach. But that's the problem, is that the Oilers' depth players are just not getting it done. They're not getting it done defensively, and they're certainly not getting it done offensively. None of them can score worth a lick. It's just brutal. They just never seem to generate much in the way of offense. And when they do get a great chance, they find a way to fumble it away or miss the target or hit the crest or make an extra pass to the guy over there in the corner. It's just so predictable. It's hard to watch some nights, because it's, and if you're going to do all that stuff, well, keep the puck in their end, and keep the puck out of your net, but don't be giving odd man rushes by, turnovers at the blue line and stuff. But it's just not working. And it's the off-season signing spree is looking like a bigger disaster by the day, because it's not working.
It sure is. Yeah, people are getting kind of bitter about that, including me. The whole thing where Jackson signed up all these players, veteran players, and didn't yet have Holloway secure. Yeah, that was a colossal blunder of monumental proportions. Bruce, my number is related to yours. My number is two numbers, 182 and 183. So essentially, if you add up Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl's points, 182 points, it's the same as the next 7 forwards on the team. Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, Brown, Perry, Skinner, Podkolzin, and Arvidsson. So the entire top 9 in terms of point scoring. 50% of the points have come from McDavid and Draisaitl. Wow. That speaks volumes. They really are missing that punch that they got, from in previous years from Kane one year, from Hyman, from Nugent Hopkins. They just have not gotten that scoring. And they maybe this year Holloway would have stepped up and been that guy, right? But not to be.
Would have been nice to find out. I know I was noting the other day that Edmonton's splendid second line that has scored 60 goals on the season, right? 6 from Podkolzin, 8 from Arvidsson, 46 from Draisaitl. Nice balanced line there. So obviously he gets special teams chances and overtime chances and such that they don't get, but it's a miracle he scored as much as he has, being surrounded with, still, for all these years later, the Oilers haven't found the right wingers for Draisaitl, and you wonder about for McDavid. So, but that whatever they've tried for sort of making regular mates for Draisaitl has just fizzled over and over again, and going out and spending $7 million on proven scoring bets just hasn't seemed to cut it either.
Indeed.
Maybe Leon's just too tough to play with.
Bruce, let's leave it there. We got another game coming up tomorrow night against Long Island, so we'll be back soon enough. Hopefully, with better news to report.
Yeah, hopefully.
Thanks for talking tonight.
All right, thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.